Hey, what up, YouTube? It's Luke here from Astro Awakening with my latest energy update for you guys. Coming on the back of the new moon in Libra that happened yesterday. We're at Thursday, 7th of October here in sunny Gold Coast, Queensland, and Pluto has just gone direct. So I'm just going to unpack my perspective on what's going on and help you understand and navigate and see the bigger picture through these, exciting times. Let's face it, it's exciting, right? There's a lot of rapid change happening. In fact, that's probably going to be the theme for this month ahead, is unexpected, sudden change, maybe a change in the story, a lot of stuff that's going to come to light, a lot of things that have been repressed or hidden, or a lot of manipulation that's been going on behind the scenes that we weren't necessarily privy to. Probably going to come to light, and there will be a real scrapping to try and reshape the narrative or the story. So it's going to be really interesting as this sort of unfolds as the month ahead. This new moon was 13 degrees Libra, and making an inconjunct or an aspect of release, I guess, to Uranus, the planet of freedom, liberation, sudden change, rebellion. Now, if we go back last month, we had a new moon in Virgo exactly trine Uranus, and we saw the rise of the worker liberating themselves with the protests and the tradies and things, which culminated in a full moon, and we had the seismic event, most likely manipulation, man-made seismic event that happened in Melbourne. In fact, I follow a woman on Brighteon called Lavette, Lavette, which I highly recommend you seek her out. She has some really good esoteric and occult videos, and she posted one shortly after that saying that she'd looked into the earthquakes that had been happening over the last couple of years in particular. And the earthquakes that have been around the 2 to 6 magnitude have all been at the depth of 10 kilometers. And she draws the connection to sort of say, well, Mother Earth doesn't always operate at that same level. So apparently, though, the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, they're apparently at 10 kilometers below the surface. So definitely some things been going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. To what extent and how that will play out, perhaps we'll start to get a bit more insight into that through this month and into the next month. The in conjunct to Uranus is a planet of freedom, liberation, independence, right? There's a real need at the moment to free yourself, and the way in which to do that is, to free yourself from the story that they've been telling you, all right? The media, the government, the politicians, the corporations, the agenda are manipulating your mind, right? And controlling the narrative or the story. And they do this by withholding information, or by manipulating the information, or expressing that information in ways where you think there's no other choice. And they do this with these psychopathic, charismatic, empathetic leaders, so-called leaders, puppets on strings is what they are, talking heads. They do this in a way to sort of really tap into that empathy into you. And like, we're all in this together and we've got to do the right thing. But they do this by lying to you, by directly lying to you. They lied to you at the very beginning. We've got to shut the borders. We're going to have mass death. That was a lie. We've got 2 weeks to flatten the curve. That was a lie. We've got to wear a mask to save ourselves. That was a lie. We've got to lock down to flatten the curve. That was a lie. Everywhere you looked, that was a lie. Okay. Then they moved into the jibbity jab jab and the ways in which you had to have that to protect ourselves, to protect the elderly. That was a lie. Okay. They've just constantly lied. This story has been a lie the whole entire time. That lie is going to unravel. At the moment, my point of view is this: they can't legally enforce this. They can't even do a no jab, no job, but they can tell you the story that that's what they're going to do, even though that's not what they can do. And if you believe their story and you based your choices and actions on that story, this month is going to be challenging. Mercury is going to move into an opposition to Chiron. So as this story shifts and changes, it's going to be a lot of pain for a lot of people. They're going to be confronted with the reality and the truth, and perhaps that they've been lied to, but based their choices and their actions on that narrative, that lie. So be compassionate to those that are in that situation, but I expect there's going to be a lot of people pissed off and angry. Today we had Pluto going direct. Pluto is the god of the underworld. And in retrograde, there are things happening behind the scenes. There's manipulation. There's secretive stuff going on that we don't know about. And Pluto going direct today, followed by the 10th, 11th, we've got Saturn, the ruler of Pluto at the moment, going direct also. So the reality of this is going to really start to come through into the collective consciousness. We'll have more stories and whistleblowers and people speaking out, especially people within these governmental health systems that have been told to repress that. Because what's going to happen on a deep level is they're going to really deeply connect to their soul and their truth. And they're not going to be able to hold that back anymore. They've been forced into a situation, coerced into either keeping silent or to continue to push the story and to repress the facts about the impact of this particular mandate. And I think you'll find with Pluto going direct that they're going to actually go, you know what, no more. This can't go on. With Saturn as the ruler going direct a few days later on the 10th, 11th, the reality of that's going to really hard hit home. And you know, with the Mercury retrograde, it's like time to speak up and express yourself. The story is going to come out. It's going to unravel. So what will we expect the Matrix to do? Shift the story, manipulate the facts, change direction, try backpedaling, manipulate, create a sense of confusion, deception. This is really going to ramp up around the 13th. And as we move from the 13th, the sun is going to make an inconjunct to Neptune. So this is a bit of outrage. You know, the sun's been tracking with Mars at the moment. So there's going to be a lot of anger and outrage at the mainstream media and the ways in which they've suppressed things and manipulated. And you're going to see a rejection of that on a much bigger scale. I mean, myself personally, I've been watching the mainstream media for 6 or 7 years now. But a lot of people still do. And even those that are in the woke community, like, oh, I don't watch the news, they're still tapping into that story. And this is what's going to happen. They're going to try and do this. That's their story. That's their version of your reality. But you make that reality, their reality, true when you believe their story. So hold the line on that. Reclaim the line. So as we're moving towards the 13th, things will start to really get a little bit like, whoa, what the hell's going on? And the 17th in particular, you've got the sun making a square to Pluto. So this is a point of change, real transition of change, and a lot of darkness coming to light. So that'll be really interesting to watch, just the way in which they, you know, handle that process and what they do to manipulate the story or to create a diversion. So I'd be looking for things that happen, you know, maybe a celebrity death or maybe, you know, some sort of social media outage or whatever, to really take the pressure and the attention away from what's really going on. So don't take the bait. Don't dangle, like they're going to dangle that carrot and look over here. Stay focused. Hold the line. Keep them to account. The 19th, 18th, 19th, we've got Mercury going direct, Jupiter going direct in trine to Mars. This is might and power, right? This is real confidence and courage coming through. And with Mercury going direct, it's the ability now to really speak out and speak up. You've been in this reflective mode. You've been thinking about things on a deep level. How have you been contributing to this? How have you been suppressed, coerced? And the pushing is just going to push and push and push and create this break point. It'll be sudden and swift, and it'll be shocking. You know, this Uranus new moon energy coming through, it'll be like, whoa, that was unexpected, and radical. So be aware. This is the story as it unplays. And then we move to the full moon on the 20th in Aries, the god of war. The war is going to be rage. The interesting thing about that new moon, full moon, sorry, on the 20th, and I'm going to speak more about that as we get closer, is the ruler of the sun, right? So the sun being in Libra means that Venus is in rulership in Sagittarius, is making an inconjunct to Uranus. the same aspect that the sun was making to Uranus and Mars were making to Uranus at the new moon. So prepare yourself for a shift, for a change. When you've got Venus ruling not only the sun, but also Uranus as the ruler of Taurus, there could be a economic type shift or change or a collapse or a crisis or an event. So just be aware. Now, if it is within that fiat system, fractional reserve lending system, that corrupt banking system, the fake phony fiat money system, that's fine. That shit has no value. That's the fucking game that keeps us all chasing the fucking rabbit around on the little mouse on the wheel. So, you know, there'll be change around that. To what extent, I don't know. The interesting thing about that, though, if we look to the moon being in Aries, well, that's Mars's domain. So you've got the love and war sort of going on at the moment, or money and war going on. And Mars, around the time of that full moon, is going to be squaring Pluto. So this is like anger coming up. This is frustration. This is like action. This is a bit of a change in direction. So always highlighted October, November as big, big months for 2021. And we're about to get a front row seat of what is about to unfold. So strap yourselves in, but remember this, you create your story of your reality. They don't want you realizing that you can create your own version of your reality. So they've manipulated and controlled your mind through the education system, through the global media system, through Hollywood, through entertainment, through you name it. All their process is to just, if we can control their mind, we can control their thoughts. If we can control their thoughts, we can control what they believe. If we control what they believe, we control their world. Well, no longer are we going to allow that process, because you write your story. You write your story. They're coming at you with this story that's been going on now for 2 years almost. It's bullshit, baloney, fake bullshit. You've known that from day one. It's time now that you actually sort of disconnect from their story altogether and start to write your own fucking story. On a personal note, I'm running my last beginner astrology course. It's Astrology Essentials. It's an 8-week online course. And it's for those that want to dive deep into their chart and learn how to understand the symbols of their chart, which help to understand the functions of themselves, their personality characteristic, strengths and weaknesses, challenges. It's starting on the 26th of October and runs for 8 weeks, finishes on the 14th of December. It's once a week for 2 hours on a Tuesday evening. It's only $377 at the moment on the early bird, which ends next Tuesday, and the price goes up to $459. In the last 18 months, I've put over 200 students through this, and the resounding feedback is, you know, it's like nothing else out there, because I give a mixture of my astrological background, my conspiracy background, my occult background, my esoteric background, and I sort of blend all that in with helping to connect to you, the deeper you, the real you, but using your chart to do so. So if you'd like to be a part of that, this is the last one I'm going to do this year, and probably for some time, because next year we're moving on and we're going to start to do more advanced workshops and trainings around, diving a bit deeper. But this fundamentals is for anyone that wants to sort of learn about themselves using their chart. It's what helped me through my personal awakening and helped me realign to my authentic self and find my true self in my life, which improved everything about my life, my relationships, my career, everything, my health, everything about my life was helped by the fact that I got to connect to my deep self using my chart. So if you guys want to join that class, go to my website, click on Astrology Essentials, and you'll find all the information. If you need any questions answered, make sure you reach out. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. And yeah, strap yourselves in, guys. So for those that are triggered, for those that have been led down the path of delusion and deception and have based their choices on that story, and all of a sudden that story unravels and the truth comes out, it's going to be quite difficult for those people. So Be as supportive and compassionate as you can. Try not to be reactive. Hold the space, hold your being of light. This is what the awakening is. You are a being of light. It's time to shine bright. See you guys soon.